Hello, everyone. My name is James, and I'm joined by Eliana and Kaitlyn. Today, we are missing Kyle and Thomas, but with our team coach, Shelly Potter, we are collectively known as Potter's People. Inspired by Dr. Bing's course, Creating Impact in Global and Public Health, today we would like to present our initiative for growing the future of diverse STEM professionals. So STEM is not for me. Who is saying this? Minority children who cannot see themselves pursuing STEM. So in addressing this problem, our charge is to increase STEM knowledge and interest for the West Dallas STEM School that can be replicated nationally. One of the most innovative solutions we came across in our research was the Learning Garden, an outdoor classroom. Evidence nationally suggests that learning gardens strengthen STEM knowledge by letting kids express their curiosity and direct their learning. But we actually can look nearby to see how a learning garden would impact WDSS students. In 2018, the Dallas Arboretum partnered with the ISD to provide science instruction to elementary schools. They also provided TEKS-aligned lessons followed by field trips to the Arboretum, finding that students passed at significantly higher rates on STAR tests, as well as on tests of scientific knowledge. But what if we didn't require children to bus over to the Arboretum, but instead planted a learning garden right next to their campus? Today, we'll be presenting on our strategy for this charge, which incorporates how we plan to implement the garden that learns as well as the financing and potential opportunities for growth in the future. Here we have the Southeast External Courtyard highlighted, which we have chosen as this courtyard is the most accessible to volunteers as it has convenient parking nearby, as well as close proximity to the Brother Bill's Helping Hand store, which allows for extra community involvement. This courtyard also has the most sunlight, which allows for ideal growth within the garden. Next, we've provided our brief schematic of the garden. And as you can see, it allows for maximum gardening area, as well as the outdoor classroom to further facilitate the STEM learning experience. Now I'm going to pass it on to Eliana to talk about involvement in the garden beyond our students.
Great, thank you, James. First people we want to acknowledge are our teachers. We as a team have recognized that teachers are understaffed, underpaid, and are just overburdened by the amount of work that they need to do. We want to make sure that the learning garden that we're implementing in the West Dallas STEM School doesn't cause an additional burden on the teachers. So we want to make sure that they are helped as much as possible and feel confident in engaging the students in this learning garden. First and foremost, we do have teacher training incentives through SMU, such as degrees such as the Masters of Higher Ed, some paid professional summer programs as well. We also want to make sure that the teachers don't feel alone. They'll have professional technical assistance from West Dallas STEM School already has a STEM coordinator, so that person will be able to provide all the lesson plans. And then there will also have a part-time garden manager as part of our plan. And that person will be able to really manage pretty much everything in regards to the garden. And master gardener volunteers will be able to actually build the garden and maintain the garden in sense of the horticulture and the planting of things. And the next people we want to recognize are our community. And so we have three kind of general pools of people that we want to stem our community mobilization from. Kaitlyn, if you can click all three, we can see them right now. We have underrepresented STEM role model groups, such as the National Society of Black Engineers, Texas Alliance for Minorities in Engineering. We also have SMU student groups. And so this is going to be a really great way to provide a steady source of volunteers from the nearby college. And then we'll also have local STEM professionals who can kind of go to the students, kind of teach them about what it is like to actually pursue that career in STEM. And the big thing with all of these is that we are going to make sure that these students have connections to the community and therefore have role models in all of these people. And these people, everyone listed here has agreed to participate in the Learning Garden at West Dallas STEM School from now, which is a really exciting thing that we've been able to do. And we reached out to even more than listed here, and we're really excited to kind of engage, the students with that. Then our next slide will kind of discuss why the role models is so important for fixing that initial problem we talked about. We want to make sure that the students at West Dallas STEM School feel that STEM is for them. Biggest way to do that, and research shows, match role models. So role models who reflect some sort of the student's identity, whether that be gender, race, ethnicity, a place that they're from. And we really want to take that into consideration when developing these volunteers, guest speakers, things like that. Ultimately, when you have that matched role model, you will have present increased academic performance. And then also in regards to the future, they're going to be wanting to actually pursue STEM careers. And it'll just increase general focus, attention on the future, self-efficacy, self-identity, and just an intrinsic motivation to pursue STEM. Now I will pass it off to Kaitlyn to kind of talk about how we're going to evaluate our program.
Thanks, Eliana. So we really want this project, this learning garden, to grow and learn from itself. So with this in mind, we have ways that we will continuously improve the garden, and that includes short-term, long-term, and longitudinal tracking. So with short-term tracking, we'll be able to have surveys from students and then volunteers and donations to get input back on the students' level of comfortability and interest in STEM, and then donations and volunteers will help just that initial growth of the program. And then with long-term, we'll be able to track the fulfillment of TEKS each year, along with how standardized test scores increase over the years, along with just basic challenges with the planning plan and other details of the garden. And then for our longitudinal tracking aspect, students' interest in STEM will be followed, as well as the financial sustainability of the garden. And then onto the finances. So in order for this project to be successful, we really need to invest in it early. So we're looking at annual costs of $13,000 to $16,000 a year. And so investing in this garden early will be able to get it started on the right foot, and so that it can be successful for many years to come. And in our budget, we have shown that the annual cost will decrease with every year that the garden is in function. And then lastly, we will address the opportunities for future growth. So we would really love to expand to other courtyards as more grade levels are added to West Dallas STEM School, to really maximize STEM learning opportunities and more green space for the students to enjoy. And then just over the course of the years, we will be able to develop a more successful planning plan and lessons for the garden to make it the best that it can be. And then lastly, this project is important because it is replicable to other schools across the nation. So back to that first slide that James addressed, we really want to increase STEM knowledge among students of all backgrounds and get students excited about STEM. And with this garden, schools across the nation can increase STEM knowledge and interest in their students. Lastly, we would just like to acknowledge everyone that has helped us in this process, because we would not be able to present on this information and have as much knowledge as we do now without them. Yeah, let's make this happen. Thank you.